Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. So happy to have you here with me today. So, whether you're joining live or joining on the replay, please say hello in the chat or in the comments and let me know where you are tuning in to watch this video. So, today I want to talk to you about integrity. Integrity has popped up as quite a big topic. Yesterday and today for me. And let me share with you why that is. My business coach gave us a challenge for the next 3 days to tally every time we lied, whether we lied to ourselves, whether we lied to others, whether we thought it was a little white lie, an omission of truth. All of these things we had to kind of do a tally when we felt we weren't being completely honest with our thoughts, our feelings, our intentions, our actions, whatever, to ourselves and others. And so a lot has been coming up around this subject. I am pretty much a person who major core values is integrity, is keeping your word. And one of the things that will frustrate me, disappoint me, and really have me reevaluate friendships is how well other people are living in integrity to their word. How many people that I have in my close inner circle are doing what they say they're going to do. And that's not only with my close family and friends, but also with my clients. One of the things that frustrates me the most is when people don't follow through on their word or ghost. You know, the ghosters, right? People who said they're going to do something by a certain time, they haven't done it, you've reached out to them, and they don't respond, they don't reply. And here's one thing I found myself not being in total honesty when I experienced this with someone who didn't do what they said they were going to do when they were doing it. One of the things I really like to do first is just make sure people are okay. Nothing happened. There was an emergency because, hey, life happens. Life keeps happening, and we don't know what situations people are in where they're unable to, like literally, there's no way they could have kept their word at that time due to unforeseen circumstances. And then there's the people who they have a habit of breaking their word, whether it's with time, saying what time they're going to be somewhere or do something and they're habitually late, or whether it's with an act or something that they said they were going to do or say they were going to stop doing. And you know who those people are in your life. And what I found myself doing, and this is a true confession, what I found myself doing yesterday when someone gave me their word that they would do something by the end of business day and it didn't happen. And I specifically said, can I count on you? Are you giving me your word? Yes, absolutely. It'll be done by end of day today. And it didn't happen. And I reached out with that same level of concern that is part of my MO. Is everything okay? Did something happen? And but deep down, I knew that this person simply broke their promise. They broke their word. And so I really had to grapple with my integrity on that. Do I call that person out? We're like, hey, you said you were going to do something at a certain time. It's the next day and it didn't happen. What's going on? Or do I fall back into a habit that avoids confrontation? Sometimes we are not honest because we are afraid of what the reaction will be, whether it's a reaction of anger towards us, whether it's an action that may hurt someone else and we don't want to be responsible for hurting someone else, or whether it's an action that we know could have unpleasant consequences for ourselves if we were actually totally and completely honest. And it really was something to think about. All the times in our lives when, for those of you who are in relationships, right? You have a spouse or a partner, and you're upset or you're frustrated or you're disappointed, and your spouse or partner says to you, "Hey, are you okay? Is everything okay?" And what do you say? "Fine. I'm fine." When you know darn well you're not fine. And so when we look at the number of times, if you actually were to keep a tally, the number of times that, I think lie is a very harsh word, but it's actually the most honest word you could use. The number of times you lie to yourself, and lying to yourself is excuses. I had a perfectly good excuse of why I didn't want to do my 3 mile walk today, because all night it was raining and I have new sneakers and I didn't want to get them messed up. It rained all night, and I knew that if I started this 30 to 40-minute walk, I had a good chance of getting caught in the rain. And I don't particularly like that. And, but I also knew that I was giving myself a bunch of BS, because I made a commitment back in August, about 3 months ago, that I was going to walk at least 3 miles a day, at least 5 to 6 days a week. This was my commitment to get my body moving, to get in health. And whether I'm traveling, I make sure there's a gym at the hotel so I can do it on the treadmill, or when I'm home, I love doing it outside for the fresh air. My point being, I heard all the BS that was going on in my head, and I got up and went out, and I was like, just take an umbrella, Eva. If you get caught in the rain, put your umbrella up and wear your waterproof clothes. That was it. Got it done. But how often do we trick ourselves, because we're so good at negotiating with our own BS, into not keeping our commitments to ourselves, to our health, to our well-being? Whether it's we want to meditate, we want to exercise, we want to move, we want to be kinder to people, we want to say yes to more things, we want to set boundaries and say no to more things. But what are they going to think about us if we say no, if we put ourselves first? All of the things that come into our head that are lies that we tell ourselves to justify an action that may not be in complete integrity. So think about it. Keeping your word and your commitment to others is a big part of integrity. And so ask yourself this question: do you feel as if you keep your word to your family, to your friends, to the people that you lead? And it's something that, when you start your day with an intention to be in integrity, you'll be mindful of when the situation comes up where you're tempted to break your integrity out of fear, out of mistrust, out of avoidance of confrontation. All of these things. I mean, how often have you seen somebody with spinach in their teeth and you didn't say anything because you made it about you? When that person would have been really grateful if they didn't have to go around the rest of the day smiling at people with spinach in their teeth or with toilet paper on their shoe or whatever. So here's what I want you to do. Here's my call to action for you for the rest of this week. And it's similar to what my coach has given us for the week. Take note of the times where you break with integrity. And that means keeping your word, keeping your commitments, not telling the full truth, omitting things because of fear. There's lies by omission, where you simply don't tell anybody anything, so that, because the news would bring that up. And let me just say one more thing. I often have this issue with my spouse, where the lies of omission, like, why didn't you tell me? I didn't want to upset you. I didn't want to make you angry. And here's how I take that, and see if you relate to this. When somebody feels that I am so fragile that they can't tell me the truth because they need to protect my feelings, I see that as an insult. So look at the people in your life. Who are you keeping things from because you want to protect their emotions? And it's not your job to protect other people's emotions. Keep that in mind. It's not your job. Your job is to be in integrity to yourself, your word, your commitment, your values. And keep in mind before you say something, really stop and think about what your intention is when you are saying this thing. Because I remember back, gosh, 30, 40 years ago, there was a dentist that I worked for who had said something to me. And I remember saying to him, how can I improve and get better as a dental hygienist if you're not willing to let me know where I'm falling short? You do people a disservice when you are not honest with them. How can people grow? How can people change? How can they grow into leadership positions if you're so worried about protecting their feelings, they don't have an opportunity to learn and grow? Now, on the flip side of that, if people come to you with honest feedback and you react in a way that is emotional, that is reactive, that is not grateful and responsive and taking it to heart and maybe asking more questions to get more information, how likely is it for people to want to continue sharing honestly with you if you act like a jerk every time they do? So there are two sides to this coin. It's just something to think about. I wanted to share the experience that I had in my coaching community. I wanted to share it with you to give you something to think about and look at where your lies might actually be hurting people. And maybe you don't trust them enough to take the truth and use it to their advantage. So much to think about with this challenge, if you will. So I'm going to challenge you to be intentional about how you show up in integrity, because remember, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so when is the little white lies going to stop, and how can people trust you if they know you have a habit of omission, avoiding the truth? Like, how can people really count on you to be in integrity to them, to yourself, to your commitments, when you can't show up in integrity for even the smallest, slightest things? So that's a lot to unpack, a lot to think about. And I appreciate you watching. And so, Raymond, if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, thank you for asking and thank you for your kind words. All you do is go to evamedilek.com/YouTube and you can subscribe. I'll put it in the comments. /YouTube. Yes, I can spell. And hopefully you'll see that and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. And that was a great reminder. I almost forgot. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, where I will be sharing so many things that I hope will enrich, enhance, and improve the quality of your personal and professional life. So remember, every day you have an opportunity to optimize you. Every day you have an opportunity to show up on your A game. Who needs you to show up as your best self today? Who is counting on you? So until next week, have a great rest of your week. Notice when you are breaking with your integrity and your commitments and your word. And yeah, in the comments and in the comment section, just report back about what you are noticing. How many times a day are you actually breaking your commitments, breaking with integrity and not being honest? All right, everyone, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.